You're on.
Okay, we're ready. Good evening, everyone. Formal written advance notice is required by NJSA 10-4. Has been provided at this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, giving the time, date, and location, and to the extent known at the time, the agenda of this meeting. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside the office of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and other similar announcements, provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the Borough Council to receive such notices, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Can we stand for a pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Lauren, can we have there's no, okay, there is no oath of office. That shouldn't be on here. Okay. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Silverstein?
Here.
Mr. Quigley?
Here.
Ms. Novak is absent. Mr. Ross?
Here.
Mr. Siopa?
Here.
Mr. Kimberlin? Probably absent. Councilman Deline?
Here.
Okay, and then we have Mayor Sarah.
Here.
We have Ms. Lawler, Ben, and Mr. O'Brien.
Okay. Mr. Kimberlin did email that he is
Yes.
ill. Okay. First order of business is regular meeting minutes, approval of those from the meeting we had last month, February 15th. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
So moved.
You've moved
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone voting present?
Present.
Dean. Okay. Correspondence, just two memos from Elizabeth. One was the Borough Council had, I guess, the first reading of an ordinance to deed an easement from the county for the operation of our recycling center. And also, the council passed on first reading the tax exempt payment in lieu of taxes ordinance that will be backed up by the finance agreement that we hopefully approve tonight. So that was done just a little bit out of order, but that was okay. One thing before we start, I just thought I would just pass this around to everybody, because this is really cool. There's a magazine in New Jersey called Edible New Jersey, and I don't pick them up when we go out to eat, but my wife does. And she was thumbing through it, and son of a gun, on page 9, there's a whole ad that the Pompton Lakes bid took out about eating in Pompton Lakes, about what's great about Pompton Lakes. And then in the back, there's a part called Edible New Jersey Destinations. And there's a nice welcome from Pompton Lake sign on the cover. And then in the back of this section, I clipped it for you, is a whole nice article on Pompton Lakes and why it's a great place to visit. Talks about the little market, Tesla charging stations, the redevelopment we're doing, nature trails, fall walks, everything that we're doing. So if you haven't seen it, I'll pass it this way. If you guys want to look at it, you can pass it around. And I thought it was just terrific, and kudos to the bid for doing a great job of getting it placed. Okay,
We're on the map.
Yep. Executive Director's Report.
223 Wanacue has not started construction. I have not gotten a report from them this month, so I'll reach out to them and find out what's going on, but my sense is it's pretty, not much has changed, other than trying to get the project off the ground. Pompton Plaza, not much for us to do right now. I mean, they need to get an amendment to the redevelopment plan to advance their project. So that's something I think we're going to be pursuing with, council. We had a meeting with Billy Smith and his team about his project. They certainly made some improvements and changes. They've listened to some of the comments from last time, but still. It's not an easy project, right, because of the access issues through the pothole, so there's a lot yet there to be worked out. That's it for me.
Okay. You want to add anything, Tom? You were at the meeting with
I thought the meeting was a well-run meeting, good job putting that together, Ben. That had to be a nightmare with all those people, but I thought the meeting went well. Abby had some great input on it. She was on the meeting as well. It really boiled down to a couple of things, but one of them is retail space available. So that was one of the sticking points, but it was a good meeting. It really was a good meeting, and thanks again.
Okay, good. So we'll follow up on that and see if he comes back with what they're going to do. Eric, do you want to just report on the meeting that you, the mayor, and I had with the other potential redevelopers?
Sure. I forget, Seven Equities partners, we met with them last week or 2 weeks ago. More of a meet and greet. They are the new owners of Lakeside Commons. They've been doing some improvements to the building itself. And they are generally interested in seeing what redevelopment opportunities there are in Pompton Lakes. They haven't identified specific sites. So they met with the mayor, Andy, myself, and Mike Corelli, just to discuss what are we looking at, what's the vision of redevelopment, and again, some opportunities that might be right for those opportunities. So that pretty much is it.
After the meeting, I spent about an hour with them,
Okay.
driving around, and we were just looking at different lots and things that they thought were interesting. He had a keen interest in the, I'll mention the properties he thought were cool for redevelopment. He had a keen interest in where Citro's Auto Body is, that whole strip across from the mall. He also thought the block where the Washington building is a prime block, and also where the gas station is, on that same corner. He kept talking about trying to develop those corners, even where Billy Smith's project is. So, it was good. We'll see if anything comes of it, but it was a good meeting. And Mayor, do you want to report on the meeting that we had with Meridia and the Civic Center?
Yeah, we have an update on the Civic Center. We had another meeting. They agreed to all our terms that we had asked for. Now, in the redevelopment agreement, remember, we had to ask them to do the whole building over. We initially had asked them to tear it down and build a new building. They can't do that, but they are going to add an upstairs storage area with a set of stairs inside that will go upstairs so we can use it for storage. They're going to build us a women's locker room for our growing women's police department. So that's going to be in there. The trailer in the back that sits in the back of the parking lot will be removed, and they'll build 2 offices on the back of the Civic Center, or within the Civic Center, to move those offices in. And then refab the whole building. New windows, doors, new roof. It'll be now a gable roof instead of a flat roof. New bathrooms, new everything. So we'll have a new building, and it's going to happen sooner. It's not going to be at the end of the project. We're hoping in the next couple of months they start this, because I got to get the Civic Center back open. That's the key goal.
Yeah, it was we as a board, I think, putting that into the redevelopers agreement was a home run for the town. Okay,
If I could add one thing.
sure.
Just yesterday, I saw developers looking behind Arden and Harder again. I was talking to Rick, the owner. I walk my dog there every morning, and that project is not dead. So that's all good news, all good
Yep,
news for Pompton
okay.
Lakes.
Good. Well, that is the one thing that the gentleman did say from Seven Equities, is that they're going to put in a dog walk,
Oh, that's right.
dog walk lawn, so that the complaints that people have had of folks walking their dogs on other people's properties should be alleviated, and dogs that are in that project should be at least limited to do what they need to do. Okay? All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you all for your input, and thank you all for all the work we did between the last meeting, because we had a lot of meetings, a lot of things going on. Okay, I think we're going to do this in the order that we have. Passaic County, if you're okay with us doing a short conceptual first, that would be good. So the first thing on the agenda is Mr. Rahman, 1 Cannonball Road, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, Block 100, Lot 901, in the DRA 2 zone. No, come on up to here. Give us your name and, no, if you can sit, you can make yourself comfortable. It's okay.
Hi, I'm Abe Kane, and I'm a building owner in 1 Cannonball Road. And right now there's 4 apartment in my store, Mr. Ramen. And there's a huge attic, and I want to use that for apartment. I want to build up 2 apartment over there.
So upstairs now is vacant?
It's vacant. And
It is vacant.
It's we use for attic right now, but there's a separate entrance over there, and it's like kind of like huge for the attic. So wanna build a 1 or 2 apartment over there.
Okay.
I have a picture.
Oh, yeah.
My ethic is, can I
Okay.
bring it here?
Yeah, please.
This is not a pilot.
Probably not. 2 units, probably not.
So really, it's gonna go to-
Very hard.
It's gonna go to the planning board, really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I would think so.
But it's in the R zone, so we usually hear these, and then we just move along.
They have to, because they need, one of the checklist items for site plan is that they get designated here, so no matter what he'd actually, any work at all in a redevelopment area, they would need to get designated.
Okay, so right now, it's really just an attic.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll pass that.
Are you gonna raise the roof?
So if I get the approve, I'm going to talk with I didn't hire a architect yet, but if I hire, so right now, roof is like a triangle, but this area is like high enough, but this is not, so hoping just like make it like a little bit up here, because here is like very high, so I'm hoping like, all depends on the like the price and stuff. I'm
Yeah, you might need
Yeah.
dormers.
trying
if
to
that-
like make it like this.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, a dormer.
What would happen to the large exhaust? How does that exhaust
Oh,
contraption
so
figure into it?
I heard a few times about that. Like I'm willing to make it like the fence on it. I just don't know what towns wanted to do it or not. But that one, before I open up for Mr. Ramen, the previous owner, the deli, they built it up like that, and I didn't change anything. But I'm willing to change when this project going do it together, like cover it with some kind of fence.
But that wouldn't interfere with the apartments at all?
No,
It's all exterior?
I'm sorry.
It's all on the exterior of the building?
It's in
None of it goes
exterior.
through the building?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What would you do about parking?
So right now we have a 9 parking lot. So I don't know, that's one, I don't know if it's like issue or not. There's about 9 parking lot currently.
And those are the spaces along the side of the building?
Yeah, correct.
You can get 9 cars in there?
Yes. It's bigger than, I think,
They're
because
striped
one,
They are striped.
You straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
they are striped, yes. They are, 1 to the restaurant and then 8 to the end. So
Okay.
everything goes like this.
Okay. And I mean, the last time I parked in there, one of the couple of spaces like were over the curb. So is the apron the whole width of the driveway? Or is part of it curb high?
But everything like striped and like I know like the entrance in the beginning is kind of tight, but unless it's not a big car, it's not like that tight, I think, in my opinion.
Questions?
I mean, this looks like purely a planning board issue at this point, so.
What does he need from us?
This is conceptual, he hasn't asked to be designated yet, so you would have to come back with that. To the extent anybody wants my advice, making sure that if they're going to be done, consistent, if you want it to look nice, look like everything else. If this is separate, I don't really know, but that might be more of a planning issue, should they dress it up a little to make sure it all mixes well with what you have, but that's up to you. Really, you can just designate, or you can require some things, not, if it's a small thing that probably wouldn't be done anyway, and he's gonna spruce it up and make it better, but you have to decide if this is what you want, and should anything else, but right now, it's just conceptual.
What would you do with tree? Do you have a dumpster?
We have dumpster.
Okay.
And would you change I know you just put the sign on the one side and sign on the other side, the upstairs would keep the same exterior, or you're changing that?
If we do the roof, we wanna change the roof area.
But you would change the siding on it or not?
I didn't think about that, but I could change it, like,
Well, it would upgrade it a little bit. that's
yeah,
all.
but I was thinking same thing, because up there by the roof is kind of like coming out, so I was fixing it, I was going to fix it there.
Are you suggesting maybe the whole building be resided?
Well, we can't really make them, because that's a retail, right? That's retail, and that's not affecting this, I don't know if I'm talking to Andy, I don't know. In the redevelopment area, you have discretion on your designation. And the reason is with the redevelopment agency is that you want the whole area to work. And to the extent if there is anything that you think would be appropriate in the way it looks, to make sure it blends well with other things that are being done in the redevelopment area, you could discuss that with them when they shows you some elevations of things. I don't know anything other than that. If it's a standalone, it doesn't require much, or it's not gonna impact the rest of the redevelopment area, you can take that into account, but if it's if it's in the redevelopment area, and it may, then you can discuss probably how it looks.
Okay. You said?
That's not required, that's something that you may
If
want.
I'm understanding it correctly, there are apartments kind of there already, it's just gonna fix them.
There are.
Right? Is that
There
what
are
I'm saying?
No, there's no apartment, nobody's living in it.
There,
Not now, but in previous times, there was,
there was so I have a first floor, second floor, there are like 4 tenants we have, and we are building on a third floor.
oh, so there's third floor, okay.
Yeah, this is a third floor, but there was no one lived it before.
Okay, so I thought this was.
Okay, now I'm confused. When I asked you before, so there are tenants in the building, there are apartments in there already?
Already, yes.
This is on top of that.
But not in that space.
Okay. I didn't understand.
So first floor, second floor is 4 apartment, and then we are making it 2 apartment on top. So first floor 2 apartment, second floor 2 apartment.
The
So
first
it's
floor
four-
is this retail.
Is retail?
No, first floor retail, 2 apartment.
Oh, there's 2 apartments on the first floor?
So Mr. Ramen is like separated. Mr.
Okay.
Ramen is like coming out from the.
Okay, so we have a business, and we have 2 apartments on the first floor.
Yes, so
On
kind
the
of-
second floor, we have
Second floor, we have 2 apartment.
2 apartments. Okay.
So Mr. Ramen is kind of like second story.
And the third floor, you want to build 2 more apartments.
Yes.
So,
You would need 9 parking.
so you need 9
spaces.
parking spaces just for, without including the business, you need 9 parking spaces just for those 6 apartments. So now you don't have enough parking.
I kind of like wanted to ask. I don't know anything about like the parking rules something. But right now there's only one tenant has a car. So like
Yeah, but that might not always be the case.
And that's
You
why
have to
we
keep
have
that in
the
mind.
rules to this, because that may not always be the case. That's exactly
I
right.
mean, I'm gonna weigh in here,
Okay.
and, you know, unless we're looking at this as a pure redevelopment project, he's actually looking to redevelop that building, because that's not what it should look like. It shouldn't look, if we were to redevelop that particular property, we're talking about, you know, making the entire building at least 3 stories at the street frontage. That's not what is happening here, and things like that. Again, to me, whether you can convert the attic to 2 residential units, to me, again, I understand it's a checklist item, but let's just make it a checklist item though, and then not torture ourselves with trying to design this project for them, where all they're gonna do, if the redevelopment agency didn't exist, would go to the planning board and say, this is what we wanna do. So if we're okay making this a formal application to RDA, I just don't think that the scope of the project that he's trying to do at this point, it feels like a little bit of a waste of our time to spend too much time here.
I agree. I think we should send him on to get the architect and
Yeah.
get everything done so we can see what he's even talking about. The architect will know about the parking
But I think
spaces.
that's what, and I think that's what you're saying.
No, you guys can do everything from simply adopt the resolution, designate them as the redeveloper to proceed to the planning board. Or you could designate them with having seen some plans and say, do it this way, or change it. From very simple as Erica said, you are now have permission to go to the planning board. Yeah, you could do that, or you could discuss and require some other things. So you have the ability to do those things, it's your discretion to, what's the best way for this to
I'm okay just
go.
sending it to the planning board myself. If let the planning board deal with the ins and outs of it, we're just checking a box right now.
Agreed.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, good. Okay, so then we have to have a resolution.
A resolution to designate,
We obviously need some more information.
yeah, we need some information. be the property owner. I don't know, is it Mr. Rahman or who is the owner of the property?
The LLC, yeah.
Bach and Lot. So I would say they can get us that information by next meeting and we could I'll have a written resolution, get it done, be on the way. So, if you can give Carm your contact information, I'll be in contact with you next week, just so we get the specifics of who would be owning it, who's gonna be designated, and who would be going to the planning board. And next month, there'd be a resolution designating, with a very simple designation, yes, they are. And as you said, that would check that off the checklist.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay,
Well done.
good.
So I'm a little bit confused because I went to building department and they sent me here, so.
No, that's right.
Building
Yeah.
department again?
And that's
Yeah, that's
right.
I could help you a little bit. What you're doing is big enough that you can't just get permits, you're gonna need to go to the planning board at a minimum. Because this is in a redevelopment area, you have one other entity, this entity, that has some say, that kind of like a gatekeeper, allowing you to go to the planning board. What they've said informally is, yep, sounds good to just allow you to go to the planning board, but we have to do that in a written resolution that will be ready for next month's meeting. So
Okay.
that's it. So next, tomorrow and next week, you and I and Carm could talk so I can get the right information to put it down exactly, the name of your entity, get the block and lot, get it all right on exactly the permission that you're getting to then go to the planning board and tell the planning board what you want to do. So next month, so you'll be on for next month, and there'll be a resolution that is sending you to the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
We're giving you the permission to go to the planning board.
You have my number?
Yes, I have it, you gave me on your email.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Abe. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Formal application, Passaic County Affordable Housing Corp., Senior Veterans Housing and Redevelopment Plan, 519 Ringwood Avenue, Pompton Lakes, Lot 2600, Lot 2, Zone DBD 2.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The council and I have gone over, we sent all the information in, as requested, council and I have gone over redevelopment agreement. We have, an agreement, among us as to the form of that redevelopment agreement. The architect is here, to go over any of the specifics of the project, and the executive director of the Passaic County Affordable Housing Corp. is also with us this evening. As discussed last time, what is set forth in the redevelopment agreement is on this piece of paper here, but I can't read it. What is set forth in the redevelopment agreement is in fact what we're building.
I got it there.
That is what we're proposing.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you just state your name and stuff for the record?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Wouldn't it? Yes. William Northgrave, McManaman, Scotland, and Bauman, on behalf of the Passaic County Affordable Housing Corp.
Thank you. Sorry.
Janice DeJohn is the executive director, who's here with us, and Steve Coppa is the architect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just bump in one thing?
Sure.
I think it's clear, and I think it was on the record before, but that the applicant, and who's going to be designated redeveloper, will be going to the planning board for site plan approval, correct?
That's correct. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay, so just to quickly overview, talking about 519 Ringwood Avenue, block 2600, lot 2. Senior housing complex, going to be 65 units. There are going to be 85 parking spaces. 80 is required. The entrance is going to be on Ringwood Avenue. There will be a community room or a large program room, laundry room, mail and package room, offices for staff. There is a walking path going to appear around the building. There's a gazebo. We anticipate approximately 50 temporary construction jobs and 15 permanent jobs that will be part of the project. There is in the Passaic County Affordable Housing Corp. filed a housing plan with HUD that identifies this as the first cut, if you will, of residents. It's an affordable building, first cut. There'll be a preference for both veterans and Pompton Lakes residents. Given the extent of the various lists as we've seen it, we doubt that list will ever get exhausted, that there'll ever be a need to move beyond Pompton Lakes. We anticipate 18 to 22 months between approvals, construction, that whole thing. And so we're hoping to have occupancy in the beginning of 2026. It is the plan, the agreement is fully compliant with the redevelopment plan as approved by the council. My understanding is the financial agreement, long-term tax exemption, was before council, I believe last week, and was introduced, the ordinance was introduced to approve that. There was a requirement to go to the county planning board because of Passaic County. We went to Morris County, they heard it today, and.
I'm sorry.
It would be a conflict of interest.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, just to avoid any, we bandied it about, it's a charitable organization, could be, but for the same reasons we're discussing here about courtesy review versus, full site plan review, in the interest of doing it right, we went to Morris County. So we got conditional approval today. There's a couple of checklist items that still need to be provided. So that box, if you will, is checked. And so after we're assuming that we get approval here and the long-term tax exemption is approved, the next step, we're ready. Site plan application has already been made. That's exhibit to the redevelopment agreement. And we're prepared to move there to get those approvals. The buildings that were on the site, as I understand it, are fully demolished, so we're ready. We have a pad-ready site, if you will.
Do you guys have any questions from last meeting?
No, I think we're good based on last.
Yeah, and I think that there was Mr. Northgrave has done a phenomenal job of this presentation. What had happened is that last time you had asked for some of more of the information in the plans and stuff. And I had taken that as you also wanted anybody to talk about them, which Mr. Northgrave has done. I don't think that there was a need for it, apart from to make sure that what's going to be built is the attachment to the agreement.
The only thing I remember from last meeting, I remember a lot from last meeting, but one of the things I think that was, you weren't quite sure of, as to where that walking path was going to go. Has that been figured out?
I think it's actually on the plan. Let me see.
It's on our drawings.
It's
At this point, Andy, we have an application before the DEP, all the area that's surrounded.
Put your name on the record.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Stephen M. Papa, architect, Papa Month a while.
But
That's right.
no, we were good at that, yeah.
Our intention, as we show on the drawings, is architectural rendition, to the walking path on it now, all the way up to Ringwood Ave.
Okay,
But the areas that are in gray are areas which are going to be buffer zones for the DEP requirement, and they're going to be planted, so there's no reason why we can't have pedestrian activity in there.
That's passive
We're just not showing it outright to the DEP. They'll allow us to use it anywhere we want, just not build on it.
okay.
That's in process right now, we're looking forward to it. There's quite a bit of area there that will be restored. As you see it now, it's nothing but crumbled RCA, but it's going to be planted, it has to be by requirement. There'll be trees, landscaping in there, that's all before them. Those are our fingers that they'll accept it the way we do it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did we get a landscaping plan as part of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is representative of it, but Boswell's drawings also have.
And we reviewed the proposed genus and species of the trees, make sure they're consistent and
Okay.
appropriate for.
And you can ask for it during the planning board hearing also.
Okay.
What Jeff did, Morris did with Boswell, to provide plants that are consistent with what they're looking for at DEP.
Okay,
Not to swear they're indigenous, but they'll be close.
sure.
So what's there now is nothing but rubble, so it'll be.
So I brought up at the planning board meeting, there's grass involved with this proposal, right?
Yes, right.
And you'll be responsible for cutting the grass on both the county site and this site?
I'm not gonna stay to the county site, but I know our site will be maintained properly.
They did say at the meeting, planning board, they will be responsible for the cutting.
My understanding is that it will be maintained. I think well, it certainly will be maintained, but what's anticipated is perhaps we'd enter into some type of shared services agreement with the county for them to take care of it as it would any grass.
And I think the other question I had last time, and you've mentioned it this time, we didn't last time, is that Passaic County Affordable Housing Corp. is a not-for-profit organization?
Yes.
Okay, filed with the IRS
Yes.
as a
Yes.
501c?
Three.
C3?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is-
Forgive me for the oversight last time.
No, that's okay.
That escaped me.
Is there anything in here where we need to define that it's a 501c3? Do we need to know who the officers or anyone is of that?
No. You have the officers.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the application.
So the original application seemed like it was inaccurate,
Do you need that?
because unless Mike Lissicatos, who's a planner in Virginia, is still on the Board of Trustees, he was listed in the original application.
Yeah, there was, the original application, there was a, there was, I don't remember the names of who was on it.
Yeah.
But what is in the application that was submitted is the update.
Is the updated application? Okay, I just want to be sure.
Okay, good.
So I should also add, just for your knowledge, the county came on Tuesday to the planning board for the piece that's attached to this, which is the recycling center and the salt set that they're building. Just to make you guys aware, part of this project is bringing in a separate exit entrance into our recycling center. We're moving all the dumpsters to one area. It'll be a circle drive-through and then out of their property this way. There'll be an area there, we'll be able to use the salt dome that they're building for our own salt dome with theirs. There'll be a place to park trucks for the county when they're salting. There'll also be an area for our workers and the county workers to warm during winter month, cold time, and air conditioning when they need to in there, so there's a little office built in there. So this is a major project that the county took on as part of this project that was approved by the planning board, just so you guys know that.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So the annual service charge, the pilot rate is 5.5% over 30 years. That's pretty atypical from the pilots that this board has seen. Couple things, is that nature of being a nonprofit agency? And then is there low-income housing tax credits being utilized to fund this project at all?
No, there's no live tax being used, but it is that the rate is typical for affordable housing programs, including those funded by HMFA. We're not going down that route because it limits us in terms of preferences and that type of thing. So
Okay.
the mayor was pretty clear as to what he was looking for, and so we structured our financing to make sure that we could achieve those goals and still make the project pencil out, if you will.
Okay, understood, thank you.
Yeah, I do think you mentioned last time that the 5.5 was typical of these projects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always negotiable, but that's the number that works and makes the project pencil out so that we can.
Oh, it's negotiable, we want 15%.
It's negotiable to the extent the project.
To the extent to go higher than 5.5.
5.5.
Right, exactly. Okay, good, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Okay. We have some resolutions for this project, I believe.
Yeah, I could explain.
Okay, why don't you do them and,
One is, you've seen them before, it's the first resolution, 012024. It's authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement with the Passaic County Affordable Housing Corporation. That's the one where that designates them as the redeveloper, allows them to go forward, set the schedule, set all that, the plans are in front of you, are attachments as the project to be built, and designates them as the redeveloper. That's the first one, that's before you. The second one we can talk about, that's recommending the financial agreement. Early on, this agency had kind of done a lot of the legwork for financial agreements. And then it's always a function of the governing body adopting them. For about 2 or 3 years, then that task was done a little bit more by the borough attorney. The current borough attorney, I think still going to be significantly involved, but also wants the input or the recommendation of this body. So the second resolution is simply recommending that the financial agreement, which is, there's a state 5.5% and for the 30 years, that recommend to the governing body that be approved. That's really what it is. So your formal function is the first resolution that's actually authorizing the execution of the agreement. The second one is just recommending to the governing body that they adopt on second reading the financial agreement that's before you.
okay. Before we take motions for those, I'd like to open it up to the public. Anybody have any questions for us or for the county on the project? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion, and
Mr.
we'll...
Chairman, can I
Yes,
just mention?
sure.
We do have the director here, if you had any questions on how it will be operated before you vote on that, she's actually gonna be running the facility. So if anybody has any questions about that, she'll have her.
No, but thank you for coming.
If I could break in one side, Mr. John, my brother George says hi.
Okay, so it's time for resolutions. Let's do 2024 first. Resolution of the Pompton Lakes Redevelopment Agency authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement between Passaic County Affordable Housing Corporation and Pompton Lakes Redevelopment Agency. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Silverstein,
Yes.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Absent. Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Seopa,
Yes.
Mr. Kimberlin, and Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Okay. Second one is Resolution 02-2024, resolution of the Pompton Lakes Redevelopment Agency recommending approval of the financial agreement between Passaic County Affordable Housing Corporation and the Borough of Pompton Lakes. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Have a roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Absent. Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Seopa,
Yes.
and Councilman Deline.
Yes.
Okay, very good. You're on your way from this agency. Thank you very much to the
Thank you.
county and to all your hard work. This is a phenomenal project for Pompton Lakes. It is phenomenal. It looks better already with the buildings.
We'll just leave it.
Well, just leave it there. No, thank you very much. It's going to be great.
I'll make a new part.
Okay. It does not look like Meridian is here.
No.
No.
All right, you're on your way. Ask him to.
No, he's going to here.
Oh, he's coming to me.
Yeah, he's going to your board. He's going to council. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, what, you want to explain Resolution 03-2024?
This bears a lot of explaining, so I'll explain it. As you know, Mr. Delisle has been our executive director for a few years. He followed in the same relationship between the borough and redevelopment agency as the prior, Mr. Fabrizio, in which he has been a consultant retained by the borough. We talked with Mr. Delisle, and he has raised the issue, and it is correct that redevelopment executive director is to be an employee. I spoke with the DCA, and they are in agreement that it is to be an employment relationship. So with that being said, we have to figure out how to get that done correctly. So there are several requirements within both the statute and the administrative code on the means in which you are, the advertisement that goes out, negotiations, keep a record of it, qualifications. Mr. Delisle has absolutely perfect qualifications, but it hasn't been an employment agreement. We, as the redevelopment agency, don't, or you, I'm consultants, you don't have employees. The means by which things are financed and all expenditures go through the borough. So your budget is through the borough, costs go through the borough, those go through that way. So in order for the, and I had discussions with the borough attorney and the business administrator on the best way to go forward with this. And it's having gone through that and talked with the DCA and gone through the regulations, it is my opinion that the best way, and I know this is some discomfort, it shouldn't be, as I want to keep on explaining why, to Mr. Delisle, but it's my recommendation that the best way to start and go forward with the executive director being an employee is to redo the hiring and finding an executive director. Mr. Delisle has been here for 2 years plus, so he, obviously, I think it would be a leg up, or you are well experienced with him. But it's my recommendation, what's in here is that you start the process with a new advertisement, keep the notes that are supposed to be kept, keep the record of salary negotiations, make sure that the advertisement goes in the correct papers, and that be done. I put in this resolution that this decision has nothing to do with job performance of Mr. Delisle. It doesn't, has nothing to do with it. And also a recommendation, encouragement that he follow up and apply. But I think that's the cleanest way to start and go forward with the path of an employment relationship. If it is, and again, if it is going to be, there's still one or two things to work out with the borough. If it is a borough employee, but it has to be an employee of the redevelopment agency, there are shared services agreements or other ways that we are working out with them, and I'm going to talk with the DCA to make sure that gets done correctly. But this is a long way of saying, it's the way it will be formed is that the way this is written is that we have to end the relationship as it exists, which is why it says that it's going to relieve Mr. Delisle of his current duties as of 120 days from now. That's what the statute says. You have to give at least 120 days notice, but there'll be an advertisement run, and then an executive director will be hired as an employee with the recommendation that Mr. Delisle go forward with that. And I know there's discomfort or some, I don't want to put any words in his mouth. It has nothing to do other than making sure the mechanics are put in place to do this correctly, and your executive director is an employee as required. That's the resolution that is 03-2024.
Questions?
Is that full-time or part-time?
It can be full or part-time. That's up to, subject to negotiation.
Can we do all this stuff behind the scenes, so if 120 days he's gone,
No.
2021 he's back?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we do all this stuff now, while the 120 days is in effect? So hopefully,
Yes. Oh, yes.
on the 121st day,
Absolutely.
Walk right back in.
That's what's going on, is that the notice will be given that in 120 days, he'll be relieved, because you have to give 120 days notice, but it also authorizes the advertisement to be made, to go out and that process to start, to send out, to put out the correct advertisement for an employee to be an executive director in the correct newspapers, and then the correct negotiations to go forward to have that employment relationship. Yes, they'll be going on simultaneously. That's the intention.
that's perfect.
Does any of that change, these rules change though if it becomes part-time?
No, it's pretty clear in the regs and most definitely the regs and the statute that it can be part-time. So it doesn't have to be a full-time position.
That's not really what I'm asking. I was just wondering if you were to hire somebody part-time, do you still have to go through all of that? Is there any?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The regulations are the manner in which you employ and authorize an executive director.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry about all this.
I don't know, can I ask questions now?
Sure.
Was there any discussion with DCA about just fixing it the way it is? I mean, it was advertised, it was in the League of Municipalities, that's how I found out about it. Interviewed and sitting here, sending my resume to the qualifications of why go through, unless DCA said you need to go through all this. I mean, they're the implementers of it, if you will, right? It's in their administrative rules. Why not just ask them to fix it?
Because my recommendation is because it is unclear exactly whether Kevin Boyle, then the administrator that went through the process, did every step correctly. And he very well might have, but at least this has to be done, and it's my recommendation to do everything from the start, the same, do it that way, rather than do a minimalist and say, do we have to fix one thing? Start it from the beginning, so it's all done correctly.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest doing it in a vacuum, and, just get DCA's blessing on it, but you're right, it certainly is uncomfortable and disconcerting that you're in this position right now.
Understood. And I wish that wasn't the case, but my recommendation on the best way to go forward with the position being an employment position. And I stress what I put in this resolution, that this has absolutely nothing to do with performance, that's not what this is, and that this resolution is recommending and essentially asking you to apply for it. So I want that clear.
You have money in the budget, Mayor? Do we have money in the budget for another
Oh,
employee?
yeah, we've always, and nothing against Ben, but this has always been foreseen as a part-time position. This was never going to be a full-time position. Even when we hired Ben, we told him that initially. So the question of what's going on here actually came from Ben. Ben's the one who brought it up. We weren't aware of any of this. And you go back to the third administrator, when he put this in place, it was a new event for us. We had never done this before. We make mistakes, and we probably made a mistake at that point. So we're trying to fix it, that's all.
And as to the budgeting, typically, it has been, typically, the manner in which the executive director is paid is on an hourly basis billed toward thing. Since there's discussions that a way to fund part of this is that in each redevelopment agreement going forward, there will be a fixed cost that would go toward the costs that are incurred by the agency or the borough. Still to be able to show it, again, hired, where the position is hired by the borough, and there's an agreement by which they are they're an employee of the redevelopment agency, but so some of those funds will be offset. The redevelopment law is clear that you can negotiate with redevelopers, but on a variety of things. One is for them to pay costs to defray the cost of redevelopment. So a flat fee that goes toward administrative type expenses.
Which we don't have, by the way, right now.
Typically, we have not done.
Professionals,
Yes.
we're taking care of,
Yeah.
but our administrator, we did not. So that's something, again, we're learning. We should put that in.
That should have been in,
Right.
okay.
Unless the costs get recovered. The costs but yes, it is another funding mechanism to defray the cost. If there's going to be more costs, that can defray. Yes.
Yeah. So Ben, you asked for this, kinda.
This is what the law says. I mean, this is.
Damn laws.
Ambulance.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a tough spot.
Yeah, sure is. Not
Okay.
fair, but it is what it is.
Any other comments, questions? Nope. Okay, then do we have a motion to approve Resolution 03, 2024, a resolution of the Pompton Lakes Redevelopment Agency relieving Executive Director of his duties as of July 22nd, 2024, and authorizing the publication of an employment advertisement for Executive Director?
Motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
I'm sorry, went out of order. Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Mr. Seopa?
Yes.
Mr. Kimberlin?
Not here.
And sorry, Councilman Deline?
Yes.
Okay.
Can't see.
Uncomfortable, but done. Meridia doesn't seem to be here tonight. They were supposed to be to present to us what the finishes on the building were going to be so we could approve them, but they are not here. We don't need an executive session, so with that, I'll open the meeting up to public discussion. Anyone in the public wish to address us on anything? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Any further comments from the board?
Oh, one.
Yes.
Actually. When Liz sent us the emails with all the attachments on it,
Yes.
last week, it wasn't Carmen, you're on here, Liz was filling in for you. She sent me two things called MIME attachments. I don't know what they are, but I got viruses on them at my computer at work, and I still can't open them.
really?
But it says right on it, it says MIME right on it,
Mime and.
M-I-M-E. So I don't know what it is, I'm just saying that, be careful.
All right, I want to talk to her tomorrow about that then.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, okay, I'll show you before we go.
That's
Could somebody have hacked and just used their name and searched?
No, or the other ones won't, that's
What
fine.
did she send you? Because usually I would be sending it.
She sent us the
There are two emails, I actually have it right here.
it was the,
This?
Here, they're here. I can't, see how they say mime, so two of them say mime on them? I don't know what it is, but I can't open them.
yeah, it's funny now that you mentioned that. I didn't get a virus from it. I couldn't open it, but my Microsoft Word on Apple, my Apple Microsoft Word stopped working. And then I had to reboot the computer and it worked again.
Let me look into it. It might be a virus.
Yeah, all right, just a heads up.
You
Cool,
know, it
thanks.
might not be a virus though, because if it's a large send file, there's a program that we actually use too called Mimecast
Oh.
that sends it, but if you are not on like Outlook, it won't open it. So that could be an issue with why it wasn't open.
That may be it.
Yeah, so if we're sending plans, like plan sets that are really large,
Yeah,
On Outlook.
on Outlook, it's kind of like a zip file, it compresses everything. So then you open it on Outlook, and it like dumps everything on your desktop or
Yeah, wherever you're
something, wherever you're gonna put it, and then you have access to all
What,
those files.
But I just found out yesterday, because I was sending something to somebody, and they didn't have Outlook, they couldn't open it, they said they got to their office and it opened.
yeah,
And
okay.
they didn't.
don't use Outlook at work?
I use Outlook personally, but not at work, I don't use it, so.
Okay.
I just want to give everybody, because some people have been asking about the CGM building. I spoke to Sal yesterday. So when Joe had the project, there were some outstanding deficiencies in his applying for permits. That's what this gentleman is addressing right now. There's about 6 of them. They're almost to the end of those 6. Once he addresses them, nothing changes, the plans all stay the same, but he has to address those deficiencies, then he applies for the permits. And the attorney can correct me if I'm wrong, once he pays for the permit, okay, he then has 60 days to start building that. So he hasn't paid for the permit yet, but that should be very soon, and then the clock starts in 60 days. 'Cause I know people-
And then you'll follow up with him for his 30-day report that he missed?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you all.
Recently, the Janice.
Good to see you, Mike.
Janice, to John, the head of that housing.
Oh, that time of year.
That time of year.